Identify the types of agency relationships common in the real estate profession and the characteristics of each. What are the fiduciary statutory duties involved in an agency relationship? Care, obedience, loyalty, disclosure, accounting, confidentiality, called AC. Explain the process by which agency is created. Identify the different circumstances by which agency relationship/listing can be terminated. Explain the role of disclosure in agency relationships. What is the difference between the duties owed by an agent to a client from those owed to customers? Clients are owed fiduciary duties, customers are owed reasonable care, skill, honesty, fair dealing, and disclosure of known facts. Identify the various types of antitrust violations common in the real estate industry and the penalties. Explain how a licensee's compensation is usually determined. Identify characteristics of an independent contractor. They do not work employer-determined hours. At least 90% of the individual's income must be derived from sales rather than hours worked. They decide when and how to do work. The individual must agree in writing not to be treated as an employee for federal tax purposes. Explain how employment is terminated with a sponsoring broker. Explain the process of transferring a license to a different broker. What is an unlicensed real estate assistant not able to do? Identify the different types of listing representation agreements. Exclusive right to sell listing agreements, exclusive agency listing agreement, open listing agreement, net listing, option listing. Identify the different types of buyer representation agreements. Exclusive buyer agency agreement, exclusive agency buyer agency agreement, open buyer agency agreement. Identify the disclosures that must be included in a listing agreement according to Illinois law. Disclosure of material facts, disclosure of interest, disclosure of special compensation, earnest money and purchaser default, disclosure of property condition. What are the advantages of the MLS? Identify the items required on a listing agreement in the state of Illinois. All exclusive brokerage agreements must specify that the sponsoring broker through its sponsored licensees must provide what required minimum services. Explain the key difference between the exclusive right to sell listings and exclusive agency listing agreements. Exclusive agency listing agreements are the same as exclusive right to sell listings, except that the broker doesn't get a commission if the owner finds their own buyer. Explain the key difference between the exclusive buyer agency agreements and exclusive agency buyer agency agreements. Exclusive agency buyer agency agreements are the same as exclusive buyer agency agreements, except that the broker is entitled to a commission only if they locate the property the buyer ultimately purchases. Identify the kinds of limitations on ownership rights that are imposed by government action. Police power, eminent domain, taxation, estate, memory tipit. Identify the types of fee simple estates and their subtypes. Fee simple absolute, fee simple defeasible A, special limitation with possibility of reverter B, conditions subsequent with right of re-entry. Identify the types of life estates and their subtypes. Conventional life estate A, ordinary with remainder or reversion B, per audivire with remainder or reversion, legal life estate A, dower B, homestead C, courtesy. Identify the types of physical encumbrances. Restrictions, easements, licenses, encroachments. Identify the ways in which the amount of land an individual owns may be affected by nature. Accretion, erosion, avulsion. What phrases indicate a fee simple determinable? So long as, while, during. Explain how license differs from an easement. A license is a personal privilege to enter the land of another for a specific purpose. A license differs from an easement in that it can be terminated or cancelled by the licensor at any time. Identify the basic forms of co-ownership. Tenancy in common, joint tenancy, tenancy by the entirety, community property, not used in Illinois. Identify the ways in which business organizations may own property. Partnerships, corporations, syndicates, and joint ventures, limited liability companies. Distinguish cooperative ownership from condominium ownership. Identify the unities necessary to create a joint tenancy. Possession, interest, time, title, memory tippet. What wording in a deed creates a joint tenancy? To A and B as joint tenants and not as tenants in common. What are the methods of terminating a tenancy by the entirety? Judgment sale, death, agreement, divorce, memory tip, JSDAD. What are the advantages of trusts? Anonymity, avoid probate, estate planning device. Identify the types of trust that real estate can hold within. Living and testamentary trusts, land trusts, real estate investment trust REIT. Identify the methods used to describe real estate. Meets and bounds, rectangular survey, lot and block. Explain how to read a rectangular survey description. The description is read backwards starting with the principal meridian, then township and range, section, and finally the divided portion of the section. How are sections organized in a township? Section numbers always start in the top right of a section and continue consecutively top to bottom like a farmer plowing a field. How many square miles are in a township? 36 miles. How many acres are in one section? 640 acres. How many square feet per acre? 43,560 feet. How many feet in a mile? 5,280 feet. Identify the various classifications of liens. Voluntary, involuntary, statutory lien, equitable lien. Identify the various government agencies and municipalities that can levy general tax. States, counties, cities/towns/villages, school districts, drainage districts, water districts, sanitary districts, parks/forest preserves. Properties owned by what groups are exempt from general tax? Municipal organizations, cities and counties, state and federal government, religious and charitable organizations, hospitals, educational institutions. What types of liens always get priority? Taxes and special assessments. At what rate are all properties in Illinois assessed except for those in Cook? 33 1/3%. How often are properties reassessed in Illinois? Every 4 years. How do you determine local taxes? Locate assessed value, always equalize, subtract any exemptions, multiply adjusted assessed value by tax rate. In Illinois, general real estate taxes are payable in 2 equal installments in the year after they are levied. What are the dates of the installments? One half by June 1st and the second half by September 1st. In Cook County, general real estate taxes are payable in 2 equal installments in the year after they are levied. What are the dates of the installments? When a property owner fails to pay taxes on real estate in Illinois, the property ultimately may be sold in which ways? Annual tax sale, forfeiture sale, scavenger sale. Identify the types of liens that may be charged against real property. Mortgage liens, mechanics liens, judgments, estate and inheritance tax liens, municipal utility liens, bail bond lien, corporation franchise tax lien, IRS tax lien, real estate tax lien, special assessment lien. A contractor with unpaid bills must file their lien notices within what time period? 4 months. In Illinois, a mechanics lien will expire after what period of time? 2 years. Identify the types of general lien that can affect real estate. Judgment lien, estate tax lien, inheritance tax lien, debts of a decedent, corporation franchise tax lien, federal income tax lien. Identify the types of specific lien that can affect real estate. General real estate tax ad valorem tax lien, special assessment improvement tax lien, mortgage lien, deed of trust lien, mechanics lien, municipal utilities lien, bail bond lien. Identify the types of voluntary lien that can affect real estate. Special assessment improvement tax lien, mortgage lien, deed of trust lien, bail bond lien. Identify the types of involuntary lien that can affect real estate. Identify the requirements for a valid contract.